Check it out.
Oh, this is the thing I always laugh about. When something happens and it comes out to the public, and the public sits here and they go, nobody here, with the exception of maybe Peach, has any legal expertise at all, right? Couldn't find your ass from a hole in the ground inside of a courtroom. Okay, and yet many of you are certain that this is illegal. And here's what I always find interesting: people always forget that the White House, Trump, is surrounded by fucking lawyers, surrounded by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, surrounded by all these people that have expertise in all these areas. Yet, you think there's no one telling him whether or not what he's doing is legal? Now, does that mean it's guaranteed to be? Hold up, let me just caveat. Let me just caveat.
Sure.
Does that mean it guarantees that it's legal? No. But compared to the TikTok lawyers that you retards are listening to,
This is so.
That's absolutely hilarious because Trump doesn't even have.
What you see is lawyers resigning en masse when these types of things come up, and then they'll find other fucking lawyers who don't have the same scruples. And from some of the stuff I was reading, it was saying people at the DOJ, because they don't have the protections that Trump has because of the Supreme Court decision, people are lawyering up in anticipation of possible legal consequences for this.
Trump also preemptively fired and reinstated a prosecutor.
Then you got some concerns about the lawyers who are making those calls, right?
Or if Trump is directly firing them. Like I said, he did directly fire and reinstate a prosecutor on a big case.
Here's what I would tell y'all. You've used every kind of nonsense fucking court cases you can to try to get Trump. You've done everything illegal you could trying to keep him off the ballot. And all in all, we end up with a president that has more power than probably any president ever has in history. And all the people you tried to fucking lock up around him, he just simply pardoned them. I don't mean the January 6ers. I mean all the other people that you tried to get on him to put him in prison and everything else.
Yeah, he's gonna.
That's a good question. What does he think? Someone asked Cracker what he thinks about partying.
So what I would say, what I would say to you, keep doing what you've been doing. It's working so well so far. Keep doing it.
So what? That is a good question. Yeah, that is actually an interesting question. Are you for a pardoning of Maxwell?
I don't have the knowledge to make that decision.
What a fucking coke, dude. What a fucking coke, dude. Dude, she's obviously a fucking pedophile bitch.
Yeah, imagine defending a pedophile.
Shit.
Yeah, imagine defending a pedophile and being like, I don't know if I can make that determination.
Oh, I can't speak because I gotta protect Trump. I can't speak because I gotta protect my god.
He's gonna mute everyone he doesn't agree with. Hold on. Wait a second.
Yep.
Is pardoning someone the same thing as defending them? Just curious.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're a pedophile, if you're a pedophile and you're convicted, you traffic people, you're a pedophile, you're convicted.
Verbatim, pardoning someone is defending them. The reason why the president pardons someone is because they find that person innocent.
How do you know?
How do you know? I mean, that's just what law is. That's just how it goes in law. Search it up. Search up what a pardon is.
Either they think there's
a pardon is legal bail of an individual.
I get this correct because I'm about to fuck you up, but it's okay. I want you to walk in slowly. So you're telling me that the only way people are pardoned is if the person doing the pardoning believes that the person they're pardoning is innocent.
Pardons. It's not about belief, but
what do you mean? Or they made some kind of deal where they flipped them to give them valuable information.
Yeah, so there's never a time when you pardon. Hold on. I don't need any help. Shut up. Or so there's never a time where you don't pardon people because, for example, they turned state's evidence. They made a deal. That's never happened.
That's not what I'm saying.
Wait, no. I know it's not what you're saying. You just said the only time you pardon someone is when you think they're innocent. Now I'm asking you about a countermanding example, and I want you to answer the fucking question.
All right.
Is
There's
there
probably
ever a
been
time?
yes.
Shut up.
Whoa,
Great.
hey.
So does that prove your previous statement incorrect?
Yes.
Great. Thanks for admitting it. I had two more, but I'll let it go.
Hey, that was a little bit scary. Being
Didn't
honest.
they pardon Nixon after the Watergate thing?
But he was obviously innocent.
Obviously, right? Like obviously.
I just want to point out, I posted in the side chat, he did force out U.S. Attorney Eric Seibert. He admitted to it. There was coverage on it 2 days prior saying that he should be gotten rid of, and then the guy basically resigned from all of the pressure, and then Trump was like, yeah, I fired him. Yeah, it's probably not good.
I mean, come on, Cracker Barrel. Like, you don't gotta cope. You can say it's fine if Ghislaine Maxwell gets, like, rots in hell forever, or rots in prison forever. You don't have to be on her side or Trump's side on this. You know?
Said I don't have enough information to make a statement one way or the other.
I don't have enough
Good
information
answer.
to know that a massive pedophile.
You really haven't looked
run
into
by
the Epstein thing?
I mean, I've given you my answer. I don't know how to give it any other way.
Okay.
That's what she said.
Well, okay.
I love how people can like propagate all these fascist talking points and make everyone else do so much fucking work to like establish basic fundamentals, and then when you ask them to do any ounce of work, they're like, "Ah, well, I haven't read enough about the issue actually, so I can't have an opinion."
I get that.
I didn't say I hadn't read about it.
Hey, one at a time.
I didn't say I hadn't read about it. So that's not.
Also, I get how that's frustrating, but it's a thing we got to learn how to deal with, right? At any moment, you don't have to be married to an opinion, and it's actually probably the more intellectually honest thing to do to say, "Hey,
Exactly.
I don't know enough about this." The fact that Cracker Barrel's willing to do that is a good sign. I know you would base the fact that, hey, they obviously have a ton of information about all this other stuff. Surely they have information
not
about
when
this.
it's dishonest. Exactly.
Right, but the problem is you
It's just
can't prove that.
suspicious.
Yes, it's suspicious, but again, you can't prove that they know about this other stuff. They're telling you they don't.
Okay,
and you have
if you
want to
advocate for him weaponizing his own stupidity,
I don't like him.
you can.
I'm not. Hold on. I'm not Cracker Barrel's friend. I don't like him.
Wait, but you're talking
we disagree
about
on
advocating
everything.
for someone weaponizing their stupidity. You're advocating for
it's
that
not
principle.
weaponizing stupidity.
How do you know that's the case?
It is though.
It's not weaponized stupidity. It's understanding how to use rhetoric in a way that's better than you, and you don't like it. I don't like 99% of Cracker Barrel's takes. We can just talk respectfully, and that's as good as we can get. But you can't prove he knows a ton of stuff about it. He doesn't want to say anything about it, and can stand on the position of, I don't know enough to make an informed decision. There's nothing we can do. You're just mad that the rhetoric is better, and you don't know a way around it.
There's a lack of rhetoric. There's a lack of substance.
Yeah, the rhetoric isn't better because literally at every single other point, when he's talking about something, he'll just go, "Yeah, I know more than you about it," which I proved by the fact that he couldn't give me a date for Kilmar, even though everyone knows that like you could just Google it. By the time that him and I had an exchange, he could have just looked it up, even if he didn't know.
Yes.
And I pointed that out. Instead of
not knowing when this fucking illegal.
Yeah, look, he's mad. He's still mad about it. He's not going to let me finish my point.
Definitely proves what you.
He's still mad about it.
I'm not even talking about
when you're saying that you like followed it closer than I did, and I actually know the date, and you don't, and I don't even get the stay because you mute me. Being insecure that you don't know something.
Yes, listen,
so no, don't. Yeah, it's
things.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It seems like you're purposely not trying to look into things because you know it makes Trump guilty of things. Like you know that, like the example that I brought up.
This is what I said. This is why I said I wish I could like suck dick as well as he does with Trump.
How does it make Trump guilty?
That would be amazing. Are you kidding me?
I do have a
like
question.
I've never seen someone. I've never seen
guilty.
someone who doesn't come more.
Well, look, I'm saying you don't want to make Trump look guilty, so you don't look into things like the Maxwell, the Ghislaine Maxwell thing. But you'll listen to him when he says they're eating the dogs and they're eating the cats.
I'm still waiting on you to tell me how it makes Trump guilty.
I do have a question.
Yeah, so I was trying to explain, but you were talking over me. Right. So you would argue, or you would look into things like that would support, Trump being truthful and things like that, like whether the Haitians are eating the dogs and the cats, like that kind of thing. But you're not going to look into anything that would incriminate Trump, like the Ghislaine Maxwell thing.
How does that incriminate Trump? If you've looked into it, tell me how it incriminates Trump.
Because Trump was involved in things. He was on the list.
How do you know?
There's flight logs. He was literally Epstein's best friend. There's so many things.
He was on. So there's flight logs that he was on a plane that Jeffrey Epstein owned. That's what you're telling me?
Not only that, but they were best friends. There's several photos of them. There's weird birthday letters.
Where did the flights go?
I believe they were to Epstein Island.
Really?
Well, then,
Stop saving him. Shut up. Show me the proof that they went to Epstein Island.
I mean, I might be wrong, but from my understanding, I'll get
you. You know way more about this. I didn't look into it because I'm scared of Trump being proven wrong. I want you to show me that I'm wrong about Trump being a pedophile based on what you know.
Let me pull up the flight logs.
One question I don't understand, it doesn't make sense to me, right?
Show us that it went to Epstein Island. That's what I want to know.
Okay.
Shut the fuck up.
What doesn't make sense to me, right, is why does Trump hide the Epstein files? Like, why does he not disclose it? He's disclosed the JFK files. He disclosed the I think MLK as well. Like, he's wanting to release all these documents about the truth, but when it comes to the Epstein files, if it's so insignificant, why is it not being released? That's the main.
Why do you think it's insignificant? Concern.
Well, I mean, it's insignificant in the grand scheme of things. I'm talking about, like, more or less, it's more insignificant in terms of, like, politics, right? If politicians weren't affected by this, then they would release it.
Wouldn't that make it significant?
Well, yes, it would. That's why I'm saying, if politicians are affected, then that's why they would have reason to withhold that information. Does that make sense?
That could be one reason, sure.
Right. So, but what I'm not really understanding is, like, Trump is really hesitant on releasing that kind of information, and I don't know why, and nobody knows why, but it just seems very like.
Define the Epstein file for me.
Define the Epstein files?
Yeah. What is it?
The Epstein files is I think it's like a list of people who've visited Epstein's island, and I guess they're somewhat affiliated with the sex trafficking ring.
But why do you think that there's a list?
Because these were people that were, I guess, logged by Epstein on.
No, I'm asking you, where does your information come from? I want to share your information. Where does your information come from?
So I was wrong.
There's a list of people who had sex with underage girls.
So I was wrong about the flight logs, but
no, I know you were. But thanks. Okay, pause. That's great. I already knew that. But anyway, so Poodle Guy, where does your information come from that there is a list of people who had sex with underage girls? I would like to have your information.
Well, I don't have an actual, like, definitive source.
Oh,
I
you
can't
don't have a list. So
you
want a list. Wait, I just want to be clear. You want a list that's part of a file that you don't know if it even exists.
Look, we're not saying that Trump and Epstein made a list of a bunch of people who came to the island. I'm not asking you for
what you're saying or not saying, sir. I'm dealing with the facts for a second.
All right, sir.
I'll let you get back to saying what you're not saying.
Wait, so are you saying that the ring
was Kash Patel when he was saying that it was sitting on, like, Biden's desk?
Isn't it? Wait, so you're saying that you're arguing that, like, Epstein didn't traffic people? That didn't hold the sex trafficking?
Define.
Is that what you're saying?
Context. Define sex trafficking in this context.
define sex trafficking. Okay.
I mean, enticing minors.
In the
stuff.
context of Epstein, yeah, define it.
I mean, I guess I can look up the definition of sex trafficking if you want.
I mean, you're
I'm
the
not
one
really sure what
using
you're
the
trying
word. I assume you know what you mean by the words you're using.
Enticing minors and
Can you define
enslaving them.
pedophilia, please?
Poodle.
I need you to tell me what pedophilia
Not
is.
asking everyone else. Thanks.
The action or practice of unlawfully coercing others into performing sex work or providing sexual services, usually involving forcible relocation.
Forcible relocation. Okay, great. So, since we have testimony from multiple women saying that they were not forcibly transported to the quote unquote island, that they went there willingly, and that they actually were treated very well and paid a lot of money for their time and service, does this still qualify based on the definition you just
Yes.
gave?
Well, I'd say
yes, because it says
because
usually.
they're. I'd say wait, I want to answer that real quick. I mean, I believe yes because I mean, if these were underage women, then they cannot, consent.
How does that fit your definition?
Well,
Your definition doesn't say anything about underage women.
Well, I mean, it kind of implied that you can't consent when you're not
How
when you're
is it
underage.
implied? Read the definition again, where it
Okay.
implies
The action
about being
or practice of unlawfully coercing others into performing sex work or providing sexual services. So let's look at what coercing means.
Let's stop there.
To persuade.
That's all you need right there. That's it right there.
So me unlawfully coercing, so it's illegal
yes.
for me to coerce a woman
an underage
underage woman.
Underage.
You didn't say underage people when you read that definition the first time.
Well,
so the reason why it's automatically coercive is because they're underage.
It's not.
Is it?
I've looked into this. I don't need help.
Okay.
I know what's being said here. It doesn't say underage. So what I'm saying to you is, based on your definition that you just gave, explain it.
Okay. Well, coercing.
If the women weren't being forced,
they weren't. And
by the way, not all of them were quote unquote underage. Let's be clear about that.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Okay.
Supposedly.
Okay.
Well, so does it still meet the definition? Because coercion is simply me saying, "Hey, I'm going to give you a lot of money. I'm going to take you off the streets that you're living on. I'm going to pay you a lot of money to come to this island and suck some rich dick."
Well, no, it's persuading an unwilling person to do something, usually by using force or threats.
So since we don't have evidence that any of these women were unwilling, your definition would not apply.
I mean, well, they cannot consent to intercourse.
Not being able to consent has nothing to do with whether or not they were willing.
I mean, well, it's still illegal. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I know I know you're struggling. Yeah. Here's the proper answer, okay? There's an expanded definition of sex trafficking. I would encourage you to maybe look that up, where it doesn't require them to be moved against their will.
What I don't understand.
At that point, we would simply be saying prostitution.
But what I don't understand is you're saying that they can relocate without their parents consenting to that, anything like that, by being talked to. Where do you think
these people's parents were? Let me ask this: how do you know that any of these girls' parents weren't on the island with them?
I do not know.
Right? Have you never thought about that? Have you never said, I wonder how a girl got on a jet and flew halfway around the world to a fancy private island, fucking stuck, and her parents never knew about it? You never bothered to ask that?
It's quite possible, but it's also possible that their parents knew about it. I'm not arguing that.
How many parents were not living with, but staying at Michael Jackson's house when their kids were supposedly in his bedroom?
I am not. I don't know that answer.
Quite a few of them.
Okay, but you would agree that doing intercourse with an underage child is another crime.
The issue.
It's another crime, right?
It's fine. It's fine that you want to make that argument now.
Yeah.
and we can get to that part of the argument. But I want you to focus on the assumptions you've made so far.
Okay. Okay.
A list, right? A file,
Mhm.
Sex trafficking.
Mhm.
It sounds like you have a narrative in your head that may not comport with reality. And in fact, it may not even be anything any of us have been told, and we've simply been allowed to imagine this narrative so far.
Okay.
Yeah, but sex
Here's
trafficking of a
another
minor
question.
is a specific crime. Like, what is this conversation?
Can I just
Right.
chime in yet? Or hold on, can I chime in yet about this, or am I still panning?
This is him defending pedophiles. Let's keep going.
Crime. I didn't say it wasn't a specific crime. So,
Infinite, can I ask you a really quick question?
yeah.
Do you think there is a list?
I'm highly skeptical that there is a list. And that was actually my next point with Poodle, which I was going to say, why would we assume that if you're amongst your really rich billionaire friends, you're brought to the island to do whatever rich people do, have a good time. There happens to be girls there that are prostitutes, and some of them happen to be underage. The only way I can imagine there's a list is if people have in their head some thing like, "Oh, you have a scheduled appointment to fuck underage girls." I don't think that's what it was happening. I think really wealthy people were having sex with girls that sometimes were underage, and by the way, many of those girls who were underage, let's say 16 and 17, that meets the state age of consent in most U.S. states. So it's just important to understand what we're talking about here. Why would there be a list? For what? A list of what? A list of canceled fucking appointments?
Okay. Can I chime in, or am I banned from chiming in? Please.
No, you can chime in. I'm gonna mute this other dude.
Okay. All right. Finally. Okay. So, the reason why we know that there is a list, okay, is two reasons. Now, it depends on what list you're talking about. Are you talking about a client list, or are you talking about
we already
a
defined
list of the girls? Okay.
The list is a list of men that had sex with underage women.
Okay. As far as a list of an actual list of clients, as far as we know, with everything that has been released to this date, there is not an official list of all the clients. It is suspected that in the book, Epstein's basic contact book, that the members who are circled are supposedly the clients. This was corroborated by the attorney who dealt with the original Epstein case when they were bringing Epstein down. However, that's one lawyer, and we have no other testimony that backs that up. So we're not sure on that one. We do have a list of the girls. They're just all blacked out. That has been released. So as far as the person saying the aircraft going to the island, no, there's no airport that is on the island except for a helipad. Generally, what is known to have happened is there are several different airports that Jeffrey Epstein would at least their plane would take people to, and then they would get on a helicopter and they would get taken to the island. Sometimes via boat, mostly by helicopter. In the side chat just a little bit ago, I posted both Donald Trump showing up in that flight list, and if you look at which airport they were taken to, and look at the other one, the other image I posted, it has a blacked out name indicating at least one of the victims of this supposed sex trafficking. So we at least know that Trump has gone to the exact same airport that the victims were taken to, at least before they were taken to the island. So we do know that much, for sure, with what's been released today. We also know, I don't know if any of you have actually sat through any of the testimony, or through any of the files, but some of the files are actually video files with FBI agents interviewing the girls, and they talk about some of the things that happened. There are hours and hours of these videos. This was in, if not the latest release, the one before that. There's a lot of them, a ton of them, and their faces are blurred and everything. I don't think anyone here has sat through all of those videos.
Yes, a lot of them were adults.
Not all
We
of them
don't
were
know
children.
the exact ages when these girls were there. We don't know how they got there, and their parents weren't involved.
You do got a point with the sex trafficking. I'm looking at the definition. It's by like force or threats. Is typically the way,
He was
not
charged with
coercion. I
sex
just don't.
trafficking of a child. Like this is a specific.
It's really
crime.
not
That
that
was what the
complicated.
indictment was.
He's just coping to protect his god, Trump.
Again,
He was indicted
I mean,
of a
so far,
specific crime under the U.S.
I don't know
I've
how
not
it
said
applies to
anything
like
about
underage
Trump, just so
people,
you know.
but like for in terms of overage people who are like 18 or older, I mean, it does say it's through force or threats, right? Not persuasion. And I think people went to the island under pretenses that they were getting, I guess, a benefit from it. I don't know if that
many of the
applies
women
to
have
It
already
matters. That's why it
testified.
matters that there's a specific charge that talks about recruiting and enticing when it comes to minors. This is just
Yeah.
irrelevant.
Yeah, so
He
yes,
recruited
so
and
when
enticed
it comes to
adults
minors,
too.
I do agree like that's different. Well, because minors they can't consent. That's why they have that applicate like that type of a law applied to them, right?
Yeah, but we have a
It's
specific
different.
law for not being able to consent. Right?
Well,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
That
we
has
Can I
a
do,
just
but
specific
clarify?
meaning.
Sorry, Cracker. Is are you saying there isn't a specific law that he was indicted under that deals with trafficking minors?
I would need to see the law because he's technically
It's
in federal
literally in
jurisdiction.
chat. If you want, I
Cool.
tagged you in it.
I'm not in there. I'm
Literally.
eating, but he's
Okay,
technically
cool.
in federal jurisdiction, so it's going to be different than the states.
Well, okay. I'm just saying the indictment. When you read the indictment, it's the charge is sex trafficking of children.
I got it. I would have to read what the statute of that law is. Just because
man.
somebody's charged with something doesn't mean anything. Was Epstein found guilty? No. So
well,
I guess
that's great.
also
That's
Epstein
interesting.
just killed himself too in his cage or whatever. Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean that was under Biden. You think Biden did it?
No, it was under Trump. You're wrong.
Wait, can you
Oh,
hold
yeah,
on?
it was
I have a
Trump,
weird
wasn't
question. Can you be found not
Trump
guilty
did
and
it.
still end up in prison?
How?
No, it's not possible.
Well, then
It's innocent
surely he's
until
guilty.
proven guilty.
He's guilty of something, and he got indicted on things. But
So wait,
why
sorry.
would he end up
The
in
answer
prison?
is if we're being that literal, the answer is yes. Because if you haven't been tried yet, you can still be held.
That's not prison.
But
You're
that's
held
just
in
jail.
jails typically.
Yeah, that's
So
jail.
I wasn't sure
Not
if
prison.
she was
Holding so.
making that
Goofy
distinction.
Cooper.
I mean, the only two answers to that is either A, he was guilty, or B, he was falsely accused.
I mean, are you innocent until proven
Which,
guilty in America or not?
um,
Yep.
yeah,
And Epstein's innocent.
yeah.
Some people apparently we say they're innocent even after they're proven guilty, right?
That's true.
But like,
Bro,
damn.
what's funny? Let me point
Yeah,
out.
that's for
Some people
What do
say,
you,
oh,
how do you,
Pong.
how do you guys feel about
Let me
the
point
Epstein
out some hypocrisy here. You remember a few years ago, all the leftists they were saying, "Oh, big conspiracy theory. Epstein killed himself. Ah, conspiracy theory. You guys are crazy." Now that Trump is involved, all of a sudden, all of it is true, man. All of it.
How do you guys feel about the whole idea that the Epstein files were an operation by Israeli intelligence to gain a foothold in political power
I think
in the
that's what people
U.S.?
want to believe because that's more fun.
It's great. Interesting.
Than just a
I know
bunch
that
of
guy
guys
Daryl. That
getting
guy
together
Daryl
and
Cooper
fucking
has like a 6 hour.
16-year-olds.
listen,
I think
honestly,
Kirk said that before he died too. Charlie Kirk. He
it
did say
wouldn't be
something about that.
it wouldn't be a big surprise to think Epstein Island was a fucking honeypot.
It had. I mean,
Okay,